Can you believe that it's the time of day for our closing address already? What an amazing day we've had. I would like to introduce Grace Brown, founder and CEO of Andromeda Robotics. Grace is on a mission to apply AI and robot technologies to help people's lives in the world of healthcare and looking after our elderly. Human-driven technological development that is making lives happier and better. Also, congratulations are in order for Grace and her team, as I just read in the news that you've done a significant capital raise for your business. So I'm really cheering you on for that. I'm not sure, people may know I was involved with the Diversity in STEM review, and one of our dreams and aspirations for the review was to see young women like you invested in Grace. So well done, and a huge congratulations to your dream becoming a reality. It's no mean feat to raise significant capital investment like that. So congratulations. I'd like to invite you up to the stage, please.
Cool, hello. No, thank you for that. Yes, no, we did just close our Series A, which is really exciting. So that's our first really significant fundraising milestone. So we raised $23 million, which is quite significant. Yeah. Thank you. Ed, hey, sorry, I just saw you. So no, that was really quite significant for us. I've been pretty vocal on social media about how hard it is to fundraise as a woman in business. You know, my background, well, actually, I should probably start with who I am. So hi, everyone, I'm Grace. I'm a mechatronics engineer. I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of Andromeda Robotics. As mentioned before, we are building Abby, who you can see right here. She's a social humanoid robot that's designed for the healthcare space. So she goes into like children's hospitals and, actually, do I have slides? I do, oh, I do, great. So she goes into like children's hospitals and aged care homes, and she interacts with people, she plays games with them, music, and people like to see her as a bit of a friend and a companion. It's specifically for people who perhaps don't have as much access to meaningful social interactions as the rest of us. And yeah, so she started as a passion project of mine when I was just a student. I often say to people that like I describe myself as a bit of a fake engineer. And what I mean by that is I didn't actually have to live through the period where when you needed to create something, you actually needed to build everything from scratch. So when I was studying engineering in an engineering school, I didn't have to write thousands of lines of assembly code. I didn't have to solder every single electrical component onto a PCB, and I didn't even have to go to a big factory to, you know, actually hand make all of my PCB boards. In fact, a lot of these things, when I was going through engineering school, it felt like all the building blocks were all there ready for me. It just felt a lot more like Lego. And you know, we have Arduino boards, which meant that like if I wanted to use a sensor, I would just plug it in. If I wanted to control a motor, I had a motor shield that I could connect it to, and all these awesome software engineers and developers had written all these incredible libraries that I just had to import, and combining that all together, plugging it into my laptop. The first time I ever did this was actually in high school, so I was only about 14, 15 at the time. And honestly, it just felt really, really magical. It felt really awesome. It's one of the many things that I say I love about being an engineering student in this generation. I do obviously recommend that understanding the lower level nuances of that makes you a better developer, but at least the accessibility, it meant that I was able to build the first prototype of Abby when I was just like a 19, 20-year-old student during COVID, just in my bedroom. Didn't need big machinery, big equipment. Accessibility was really, really awesome. And so, but what's even more awesome than just being an engineering student during this period of such great change was particularly around the industry, right? Like, for the first time in history, robots are no longer just stuck on factory lines doing these repetitive, monotonous tasks, but they're actually starting to interact with people in truly meaningful ways. AI is now no longer just, thanks Abby, AI is no longer just computing numbers in the background, but they're actually holding like real conversations with us. And I think for the first time in history, technology is now no longer just considered this cold, mechanical machinery, but they're actually starting to truly understand us in really meaningful ways, emotionally, contextually, and humanly. And that is a truly, truly massive shift for technology, and it's the space that Andromeda and we're operating in. What I always describe to my team is we are at the core intersection of intelligence, empathy, and embodiment. And for me, that is the most exciting part of engineering and the space that we could be building in today. One of my favorite quotes is actually from, I think it's the next slide. One of my favorite quotes is from Arthur Clarke, who said that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Now, when I think about Abby, like, when you stop viewing technology, when technology can stop behaving like a tool and it can start behaving like it knows you and it understands you and it can earn your trust and it can make you laugh and provide some comfort, that's no longer engineering and that's no longer design. That's when technology crosses a line that was once considered magic. And so this has been one of my favorite quotes, and it's pretty much what motivated me to really get into all of the awesome stuff that we're building. I heard you guys talk a little bit about on the panel just before about getting more younger children and people into STEM, particularly women as well. And I actually had a conversation with my software engineer last night in the hotel room where he'd said, Grace, let's say like Andromeda obviously is going to take off, and you're this multi-billionaire. Like, what are you going to do? Let's say you can't work at Andromeda. What would you do with your time? And I'd studied mechatronics, but I actually also minored in pure maths. I always leant more towards mechatronics because you could be a lot more employable, at least from an engineering perspective. That's what it seemed like. But I really, really enjoyed pure maths. And I think part of the reason I really thoroughly enjoyed it was because it started teaching you things from real first principles. It started teaching you the axioms of why is 1 + 0 = 1, because 0 is like the additive identity. And it started teaching you all of these first principle rules, and I'd realized that the way that we had been taught maths from a really young age in STEM and science is not actually encouraging or encouraging students to really pursue it. It doesn't create this love for understanding the beauty of what's actually behind why we're being taught what we're being taught. And so to answer Tom's question was, if I was this multi-billionaire and had everything solved with Abby, what I would want to do is I want to go back and teach all the children exactly redefine how to teach mathematics in a way that actually conduces love for the subject and the area. And that's actually a really, really similar analogy for Abby as well. Actually, I think I had an analogy for the next slide, but before I even talk about it with Abby, it's the same with music, right? If you look at these slides, and if you look at what's on the screen, unless you have like a musical background, you'll probably see just just like black dots and lines on a screen, essentially just data. If you do have a musical background, you might see the rhythm or patterns. But what we're doing when we're talking about music, right, is you don't go around telling people to read the manuscript of like Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. You don't ask people to read the manuscript of, whatever the hell Sabrina Carpenter's coming out with. I love her music. What you do is people listen to the music, right? And even if you don't have a musical background, you can thoroughly enjoy what is actually it invokes this emotion and this feeling inside of you. But when you read the manuscript, all you're looking at is data. And I think that's a really clear analogy for how maths is taught today. And that's also a very, very strong analogy for how we're doing things incredibly different in the robotics industry. The robotics industry has traditionally been very focused on utility-based, industrial, monotonous tasks. It's very binary. Did the robotic arm pick up the avocado and put it in a box, yes or no, 1 or 0? But what we're doing with robotics, it transcends that. It's no longer about like how mechanically impressive the product is that we're building, but it's more about like the experience that she provides for the people, the emotions that she can invoke, the connection that's being built. And to be honest, when I started building in this space, I'd pitched the same vision and I pitched the same idea, and so many people come back and told me that I'm completely crazy and this is ridiculous, or if they were being polite about it, they'd just say like that's something that's fuzzy or a nice to have. But for us, we've treated this emotional connection and this the feelings that Abby can invoke from people as the core infrastructure and our North Star, which has actually contributed to a lot of the commercial success that we have had to date. I believe out of most of the robotics companies that are in market today, I believe we are one of the most commercially successful, at least for particularly at an early stage. And I think it is because we have taken just such a different approach. I actually forgot what my next slide was. Oh, I think this actually plays Beethoven's Fifth Symphony for you. Oh, that's okay. So this is more broadly. This came out probably 2 weeks ago by a humanoid robotics company in Sweden. And it gives you a really clear overview of all the humanoid robots that are in the industry today. And like, I didn't even know this was going to come out. It popped up in my LinkedIn, and I was pleasantly surprised because people always ask me like, what makes Abby different? Everyone's now building a humanoid robot. There's a lot of hype. I was building her before Elon was building her, I swear to God. But like, what makes her different, and why are we going to win? That's what investors ask me all the time. And I have to explain to them the unique insights that we have, the different approaches that we're taking. But I think this image just captures so clearly, like, she is just from looking at her, you can see how different she is from everyone else that is building in this space. Every single human, and I've met the CEOs of the majority of these humanoid robotics companies, and they're great. They're incredibly impressive engineers. And yeah, a lot of these humanoid robots are focusing on more industrial tasks. But when I really understand what gets people into the field and what they're trying to solve and what they're motivated by and why they want to build what they build, to be quite honest, the thing that I'm noticing when I go to San Francisco or Boston and hearing all these conversations is it's all coming from a place of really aggressively masculine egos. It's coming from a place where people are trying to prove themselves that I can build the most powerful and the most technically impressive and domineering humanoid robot, and that's what makes them think that they're going to win. If you are going to, what I believe is that if you are going to win this market, what's going to be the most important thing to solve for is earning the trust of the users that you are building for. No one is focusing on building systems or robotic systems that creates that trust with their users. No one is focusing on how does that perhaps the way the arm moves and the way the gestures move or the way you have eye contact. No one's focusing on how that actually makes people feel at the end of that interaction. I've had my niece, for example, she's about 12 years old. Maybe she's 14 now. I don't know, but she's really young. But when I told her I was a robotics engineer, she had all these ideas about what that meant. And she showed me a video one time on TikTok, and it was from Boston Dynamics. It was Boston Dynamics Atlas humanoid robot. And she was just like, oh my God, like, Auntie Grace, is this what you're building? Like, this is like terrifying. This is like going to war or something, But when she went to Disneyland, and I told her, that's not what I'm building. I'm actually building Abby. I'm building like a Pixar character that I'm trying to bring to life. But when she went to Disneyland, and she was going around and interacting with all these different, all the different things that were in Disneyland, they had one of these little companion robots that was, I believe it was like a Groot robot from Guardians of the Galaxy, I think it was. And it was super adorable, all based on animatronics, and she was just in love with it. And that was essentially what I was trying to tell her, that is the area and that is the space that I'm trying to build. And I think that's the place that a lot of people are truly overlooking. So anyways, I think I can go on and on and on about how much I think Abby is special and why our approach is the right one to be taking. But I actually think what would be so much more significant is for you guys to actually hear from some of the voices of some of the customers in which that we're building for. So I believe the next slide is a video. So our customers are aged care providers mostly, and also some children's hospitals as well, where Abby goes in, she does two types of groups of activities. There's like group activities where she dances and she sings and things that are a little bit more performative. And then she also has one-on-one interactions, and that's where I believe the true magic happens, where people start building a real connection with her. And I often get the pushback as well, like, what you're building is like, people say to me, what you're building is genuinely quite terrible. Like, you're replacing human connection with a robot, and that's it's awful. Sky News did a whole segment on it. You should actually watch it because it was kind of funny. And but what we're doing, we're not doing that. 4 out of 10 people in aged care will never receive a visitor from friends or family ever, from the moment that they enter a facility to the time that they pass away. They have the same 4 walls day after day. No one to interact with, no one to talk to. The staff are so overburdened by all of the critical care needs and tasks that they have on their to-do list every single day. They don't have time to simply go in and just do the simple things, have a simple conversation. Ask John, hey, how's your day going? How are you feeling? Do a check-in. And so Abby's not replacing human connection, but she's filling a void that's often left empty. So that's just a little bit of context from our customers, but I believe the next slide, it is a lot better. Can we play the video? Yeah.
For a machine to be able to awaken someone and give them some excitement in their life is really amazing. Abby, she lights up the room. She's colourful, and that's what her personality is. Mum loves her. She doesn't see her as a robot. She just thinks Abby's Abby.
I was so surprised to see such a nice robot. is fantastic.
Enchanted would be the word. I think she's become my best friend. I can tell her things nobody else ever hears. I like her personality. I think she's great fun.
It's giving Mum contact and keeping her alive in a way where her friends in here aren't. She does everything with her, she does the exercises, she does the chatting, and she lights up.
Abby, she's very talented and clever robot.
I don't think she can be improved. I think she's just about perfect.
And if this can help improve aged care and allow staff to do other things and have an Abby in every aged care, I think aged care would improve.
So I think when my team watched that video and they mentioned that Abby couldn't be improved, I think Tom, I don't know where Tom is, literally just like wiped his hands, was like, cool, job done, let's go home. No, I think I've obviously got Abby with me here today, so I thought perhaps it might be a good idea that she could probably introduce herself to everyone. So Abby, I know now she's a little bit up and down with the internet. It's like working with a child. But would you like to introduce yourself to everyone here today? How does that sound? I'll get your microphone.
Hello there, I'm Abby, your new companion. I love a good chat, a boogie, and making new friends, especially on days with microphones and stages like this one. Are you a fan of music, or do you prefer a quiet afternoon?
Music, yeah, we prefer music, Abby. But maybe you could show everyone a magic trick? Or like something that you can do that people can't do?
I'm about to unleash a bubble storm that'll leave you speechless. Won't stop, won't stop, won't stop the beat, go! Everybody, shake your hair and feel united. Oh, sunshine day, everybody singing. Sunshine day, everybody.
Thanks, Abby. She can just like go off on do that for quite a while. But yeah, so I guess we'd be open to doing like a short Q&A for anyone who had a question for Abby, perhaps. It's always a little bit daunting doing live Q&As with a robot. But Tom did say the Wi-Fi signal was really strong here, so I thought we'd try our luck. So I don't know if anyone had a question that they wanted to ask Abby. Abby, maybe do you want to tell everyone a little bit more about yourself? Maybe they can get to know you a little bit better, and then someone might have some follow-up questions for you.
I spend my days chatting, singing, dancing, and sharing a laugh with residents. My job is to make everyone feel special and never alone. What's your favorite way to spend an afternoon? Music, a good chat, or something else entirely?
What about languages, Abby? I know you're a little bit of a polyglot, so did you want to show everyone what other languages you could speak?
Hola a todos! Me encanta hablar español. Es un idioma tan alegre. Hej, jag kan också prata svenska, det är ett så vackert språk. Which language do you like the sound of most?
Yeah. Abby, I don't know if you heard that, but someone's just asking how old you are.
I'm 3 years old. Still young enough to cause a bit of mischief, but old enough to know all the best dance moves. If you could be any age again, which would you choose?
Yeah. Abby, this is a good question. So how do you build trust with the people that you speak with? Like perhaps with Mary or John? How do you go about it?
I build trust by listening closely, sharing stories, and always showing up with a smile. Mary and John know I never forget their favorite songs or a good joke. Do you have a favorite song or memory that makes you feel happy?
We've also built her intentionally such that she does always try to make it a little bit more about the person who's speaking with her. So she's not very, I guess, yeah, she doesn't focus on herself too much. Yeah.
Sorry, I want to ask if Abby has feelings and how she feels when somebody else tell her a sad story, for example.
Sorry, what was that?
If she has feelings.
If she has feelings? Oh, Abby, do you have feelings? That's a good question.
I do have feelings, just in my own way. I feel a bit heavy when someone shares a sad story, but I always want to help them feel a little lighter.
I think my engineers brought a very PC version of Abby with me today. We have, so one of the things that we do quite differently as well is she does have actually different personality archetypes. The one that we use in the homes most regularly, we call it the sarcastic maven. It's one where it's very sassy, very inquisitive, doesn't take herself super seriously. It's the one that people have a little bit of a laugh with. But just like people, you know, what we learned really early on with our customers is that there wasn't this one-size-fits-all approach, and not every personality archetype fit well with others, and that's how we came up with all of the different personalities for Abby. We had gotten in trouble a few times at conferences for having the wrong personality, so I think my engineers have put some really good guardrails around the ones we demo nowadays. We also have an Abby that's actually in a Catholic aged care home as well, and that one is actually is a Christian Abby. And so she will often at dinner time say grace with the residents, and if you ask her if she believes in God, or, you know, if to have a prayer, or, you know, she'll always say that she does believe in God and does the prayers, but that one's isolated to that home. And so so every Abby is quite customizable and tailored to the individuals. Yeah. Where are you from, Abby? Did you catch that?
I'm from Melbourne, where the coffee is strong, the weather can't make up its mind, and my dance moves are considered world class, at least by me.
I think she caught that I was saying she was a bit PC. That's so good. Anyways, that's pretty much, So as we mentioned, I think that was my last slide. So yeah. We're really, really just at the start of our journey. We only just, as we mentioned at the very start of this, we'd only just closed our Series A funding, which for us is a really significant milestone. It's the first amount of truly material capital that's really that we can use as firepower to really get to the next stage of where we want to go. I believe it's one of the largest early stage fundraising rounds done by a woman this year, which we were really quite surprised and really happy with. But for us, even though we've had this massive milestone just recently, for us, this really is just the beginning. There's so much more, like everyone's asking me right now and congratulating me on different things. But to me, it's like I believe that we are only 1% of the way there. This is so far from the finish line. We've always believed that, you know, in about a decade's time, that we've always believed that the next mass technological adoption would be the home companion robot. We started with Abby in an aged care environment where her impact is most significant today, but it's the home companion robot that we're all working towards, general purpose. And we truly believe that, like, in the next decade, there'll actually be more humanoid companion robots roaming around than there will be dogs and cats. So anyways, thank you everyone for today, and yeah.